So those who know me know that I rarely ever shed a tear while watching a movie. I mean, I saw Titanic. I've seen other disaster-related movies, right? Wartime movies. But there was one movie that I literally had tears flowing down my face when I saw the first time. Toy Story 3. And I'll let you pause the video to think about the scene that made me lose it. Well, the scene was when Andy's toys were lost at the daycare center, and they were being beaten up by these younger kids, right? And Buzz Lightyear and the others happened to see the other toys in an adjoining room being handled by the older kids, the other toys being led by Lots of Hugging Bear, being handled by the older toys, and they were being treated much better. And I actually only saw the movie 3 years ago. I saw it just before I went to see Toy Story 4. Actually, the reason I didn't see it when it was released was just for that very reason, which is why I had tears flowing down my face. So Toy Story 3, I think, was released in 2010. And the reason I didn't go to see it in the movie theaters was because I didn't have a girl to take to the movie theaters. Back in 2010, going to the movies alone was a very frightening / embarrassing experience, right? At least for me. I don't know, I think it's become a lot more acceptable to do it these days. And so when I saw the scene, not only was it a sad scene that I have to deal with, but it was also the reason I hadn't seen Toy Story 3 up until then. So it became a very unfortunate scene for me. And what became really funny was that I was getting ready to see Toy Story 4, but I was going to go see Toy Story 4 alone. And actually, just to be able to see it alone was kind of tricky, because I had a girlfriend at this time, and she always got really jealous if I spent time away from her. Toy Story 4 wasn't something she wanted to see anyway, but spending time away from her always caused problems between the two of us. So the whole dichotomy of the situation was just really bizarre, if you will. Now, fast forward 3 years later, I had a Toy Story 3 moment that resulted in me participating in the Great Resignation, which I really enjoyed doing, by the way. I was working at a tutoring center, and we had a number of employees. Unfortunately, I stick out because I'm the only Asian there, I'm the only atheist, and I'm the only solosexual. The others are generally involved in dating, or are married, or at least open to it. And I stick out in all three fronts, unfortunately. And it doesn't help that my boss has very similar religions and sexual orientations to the rest of us. We don't have anybody who's LGBTQ either. And I had a couple times where I hinted at him that it would be nice to rearrange some schedules. He told me that the students were not very flexible. You know, business is already tricky. You know how COVID is. Why don't you stick it out? I'll see what I can do for you. I'll let you know next week. And meanwhile, the whole week goes by, and I could have done something, but he doesn't let me know about the schedule until the day before. All the students don't know, so blah, blah, blah. You know, thanks for helping us out during this difficult COVID situation. You know, oh my God, we just had 2 people resign this week. Thanks for helping us out. And meanwhile, one of my coworkers, who's much younger than me, actually, first of all, she created a lot of tension for me because she was hitting on me. And I remember when I would see her schedule and she wasn't in there, I would be so relieved. That's how bad it got. And the other thing was, she got time off to attend. She had younger siblings, and also some friends who were graduating high school. And I see her get these beautiful days off to handle that, to go on vacation with her family. Meanwhile, when I want to view a lunar eclipse, right, I go out and I have to rush back into work the next day. And I had a Computer Olympiad conference. I worked through that as well because, oh my God, all your coworkers are resigning. And it just brought back memories of seeing Toy Story 3. And I actually cried harder when I saw it on Toy Story 3 than when I experienced it. Because when I experienced it, at least I could say something about it. So I ended up doing a hunger strike because I had so much disdain for everything. My family not supporting me for my sexual orientation and my Toy Story 3 experience at work. Actually, one day I went into work and I asked my boss if he had ever seen Toy Story 3. I didn't tell him why I asked him that. I wanted to subconsciously plant in his head that this was unfair. And he says, no, why? And I said, oh, no, it's just, I just happened to see it the other day and I liked it. And he didn't get the message, though. So I decided to starve myself. I ended up losing, my goal was to lose 19 pounds because of COVID-19, just as a symbolic gesture, right? And to get people to worry about me because I'm already in a relatively low weight group, right? And I called my mom one day and she didn't want to listen to me. Had she just shut up and listened to me for 10 minutes, she could have understood why I don't want to get married and have kids, but she'll never listen to 10 minutes of me talking, right? And so I threatened to kill myself by starving myself to death. And I had a life insurance policy, and what's really funny was that during the time of my hunger strike, the life insurance policy turned 2 years old, so now it was going to pay for suicide as well. I got really excited about that when I saw that. I ramped up the hunger strike even more. I changed the beneficiary to the Desert Botanical Garden in Phoenix, Arizona, because they had been really nice to me during my time there. I felt welcome. I didn't feel isolated for being solosexual, for being atheist. Having the combination of being solosexual and atheist, that's got to be the worst combination one can have in terms of prejudice, I would imagine. Long story short, I got my family to listen to me, and then in May of 2022, I was allowed to go see the lunar eclipse and have the next day off. What's really ironic was that then I caught COVID-19, and I would have gotten those days off anyway. And I took it as maybe God wanted me to have those days off, even if my family, even if my boss, even if my coworkers didn't. And we need a religion that celebrates stargazing events, right? You would think there would be one. I looked everywhere to see what kind of religion celebrates that. I didn't see anything, though. Alright. So, the only movie that could ever make me cry. Thanks for watching.